Happy New Year to you all. Hope you've all had a great Christmas. I thought I would do my first video of the year, my first vlog of the year, on our topic. So our topic has two parts to it. So we always do the season, so we're covering winter and everything that kind of comes with winter. And we're also covering Arctic life. Well, actually, it's not Arctic life. If I'm honest, it's animals that live in cold climates. So we are covering mainly the Arctic, but we are touching on the Antarctic as well. So I wanted to show you a few of the things that we have set up. You might have seen some of them on my Instagram or on my Twitter feed if you follow me on those. So first of all, I've put out some small world stuff, just really simple. We've got some old bits of carpet, an old terry nappy, and I'm trying to teach the children that the penguins and the polar bears do not live together. So one is the Antarctic and one is the Arctic, and that the sea there, as you can see, sort of represents the fact that they are not in the same part. So we've looked at that on an atlas and a globe. We don't have a globe, we have an inflatable globe. So that comes out as and when we need it. It's just easier to store. And they're relatively cheap as well. So we've got that. We've also joined up this kind of hands-on play with watching some David Attenborough, Frozen Planet. So we've had one of the Frozen Planet episodes playing in the background while we've been sat playing with this. So if something comes on the TV, so it shows the polar bears with their babies, or it shows them the penguins making their nests, then the children have been able to see that and act it out at the same time, just to reinforce their learning. And some of us are visual, and also it reminds me to tell them things that I might have forgotten, little bits of information that I had hoped to share with them, and then as time's gone by, I've forgotten. So it's been really useful. They've been really keen to see those episodes, as well as the hands-on play and learning, which is great. So we've got a few books that are based around either winter, snow, the cold weather. So we've got Jack Frost. This is really cute. Lost in the Snow, about a little bear that gets lost. And I believe Father Christmas brings him back. So yeah, it does. Father Christmas brings him back. So although that's normally with my Christmas stuff, I thought I'd keep it out for a little bit longer, and they can enjoy that one. We've got Ridiculous the Tortoise. Bearing in mind we have tortoises here. They've just come out of hibernation. So this is their second hibernation. They did 2 weeks the first time, and then this year they've done 2 months. So this is quite sweet to have the tortoise book included. And then Snow Bear, which is another cute story. Penguin Small. This is by the same person that did the Kipper books. And they're just as good as the Kipper books. And then Big Fuzzy, another polar bear book. And then this arrived, which we're a member of Bebout Wildlife Trust. And this is the winter edition. So it's got some nice ideas for looking after UK wildlife through winter, because this is the winter season. So that's quite relevant at the moment. So we're going to look at that. And then over here we have sort of the manual dexterity types, fine motor skill activities. Now I'm doing this left-handed, so I'm probably not going to be very good at it. But it's just pom-pom sorting. These are nice sparkly white pom-poms. We've also got a couple of different sizes. You can see we've got small ones. Well, actually we've got teeny tiny ones, medium and large. So you could set up small, medium and large, and you could do it by size and organise them that way. Or you could just have it set up the way I've got it set up at the moment for them to transfer. Or you could add the counting dishes, as you've probably seen in some of my other videos, having dishes 1 to 5. For older children, you could, if you've got enough pom-poms, then you could obviously go up to 10, or whatever stage your children are at, to make it fun, manageable, but with a slight challenge. So yeah, tailor it to your children's needs. The other thing that we've got is these are my safari tube figures. You can get them on Amazon. They're really good quality and don't actually cost very much, I don't think, for the quality. I think they're about £14 a tube. They might be a bit cheaper. It does tend to vary. So what I've done is I have taken photos of each of the individual pieces, and then I have printed that out on my printer, laminated it, And then we just got this little matching activity, so the children can match match the different creatures. And this is Arctic life, so I've said to the children, these are things you'll find in the Arctic. So we've talked about igloos and Inuits, but we have said that we've got a nice little book up here which I will show you, Inuit life, and it does say that most Inuits now live in homes like everybody else. That they make igloos for fun or when they're hunting. So we've kind of touched on life for Inuits and Eskimos. The other thing we've used this for is whilst we've been watching the David Attenborough, I've asked the children, oh look, there's polar bears on the DVD. Can you find me a polar bear? And they found me the polar bear. They'll be watching the walruses and I'll say, oh, I wonder if we've got one of those on our tray. And so we'll have a look while we're watching. And so we're learning the different words. So they're learning about orcas and they're learning about belugas. The walruses have been fun watching them battle. And then we can do things like, can you find me a white animal, or which is the black creature? So they'll pick up the whale. So there's lots of different ways you can use this. The other way I'm going to use it is I'm going to add some snow. So we've got some fake snow, which we have in this dish. This is just the dry stuff that you mix with water, and it makes it puffs up to many, many times its size. What I was going to do is, if you can see under there, I've got another printout laminated. It's slightly bigger than the dish, but because this dish is see-through, I thought I could take all of these out, and then what we could do is we could move the snow and find one of the creatures and then match it maybe that way. But at the moment the tray is set up just for some sensory play. So these were from the pound shop at Christmas. Let me just turn these on. They're getting a bit clogged up, so they're not working very well, but they do flash, so it's another sensory element to it. So we have those now, and these are just little figures that we got from Kinder Eggs last year. So there are little frozen set, but you could add anything. You could add the Arctic figures to it. You could add any character that your child is particularly interested in. You could put, if they're into the Cars films, you could put some cars in there. Just tailor it to the interests of the children that you have. Some polystyrene snowmen. So we've added those. There's little Olaf's sitting down there. So that's been a real hit. It is a bit messy, but it's easily cleaned up. You just hoover it up or brush it up. So for some of the messy play, sensory play that I have done with the children, I would say this isn't the worst. This one's not too bad. The other activity we've got here, let me show you, is our penguin activity. So I've got a basket with some penguins in and a separate basket to put them in, and we roll the die and then we count the spots and then we place the corresponding number of penguins into the tray. The other fun thing I've been doing with this is making two piles. So using these were just, I think these came free. Yeah, Bernardo's, they came in the post. When, the charities ask you to donate some money, and quite often at Christmas they'll send you bookmarks and coasters. And so we have used them for sharing out 10 penguins into two different groups. So it's sort of your number bonds really. So we've done 4 and 6. So 4 and 6 makes 10. And then changing it, so we've got 4, 6, so we've got 8 and 2. 8 and 2 makes 10. And it just gives the children another way to see how numbers and groups can change. So the number can stay the same, but the groups that you put them in, the way of dividing them up, can be different, and it just works with number bonds and quantity recognition. So this is quite a cool little activity and can be used in different ways depending on the area of development that you're working on with your child. I think that's pretty much all. The other little thing we've got is a sensory bottle. I don't know if you can see it very well. I've just strapped the batteries, sellotaped it all down. It's not really showing up very well, to be honest, in this light, but those are on and they're twinkly. It works much better in the evening as it starts to go dark. We've got some lovely twinkly lights, which is lovely for the babies. They can't get to the batteries because they're well and truly sellotaped down, and they use this under supervision, but it's quite nice. They it makes a nice sound, and it's got some lovely flashy lights, so that's quite fun. as well as the other sensory bottles we've got, which this is just some gems and some buttons. It's kind of got a wintry feel to it. And this one again is white items with glitter. Really easy and cheap to make. Oh look, there's a little Arctic fox or something in there. And again, they're just there for the babies to enjoy, to see some of the things that might be so small that they put them in their mouth, or things that I might add to a sensory tray that then I wouldn't necessarily be able to let the baby play with because the items are too small or could be damaging to them. And then I've got a couple of board books. I do like board books because I know I can leave the board books out and all the children can look at them and share the information, and they're less likely to get damaged and pages to get ripped. So I really like, if I can get a book that has lots of information about the topic or the theme or the season that we're working on, I'd rather go with a board book version if there is an option, but that's just how I prefer it. So those are some of the things that we are looking at in the next couple of weeks. I've got an awful lot more ideas of things that I'm going to include. Oh, I didn't show you this one. Let me show you this one. So this one is just a large snowflake punch with some white pieces of paper, and we just put the paper in the punch, and we make snowflakes, and that's been really good. And then some of them have already started sticking the snowflakes to coloured card and making a snow picture. And I've got stickers so they can add bits to that as well using different stickers. So yeah, it's a fine motor skill, well, or a gross motor skill really, with the punching activity. So it's working the motor skills. It does take some effort to kind of line things up properly and get the punch to work properly. You really have to push it down quite hard. But it's quite safe for young children to use. All the blades are well hidden, so they're not going to hurt themselves. So that's been a fun activity. We've had a few snowstorms where they've made lots of snow and then thrown it in the air. It takes a lot of tidying up, but it's good fun. We have an indoor snowstorm, so that's been great. So yeah, so these are some of the activities, and there will be more as the next sort of few weeks go on. You know, I've got an awful lot more ideas of things I'd like to try with the children. So yeah, there will be more coming onto the vlog and my blog over the next few weeks. So if any of this is if any of this is of interest to you, then please share with your friends. You know, please share on social media. It would be lovely to be able to share these ideas with as many people as possible, because I know it can be quite tricky to come up with new things to do. I mean, some of these things are old hat, and some of these things are slightly more I've not seen before. So you know, if you're in a position where you can share, I really would appreciate it. Anyway, yes, enjoy your weekend, and I'll put another video up probably next week.